Hello, I'm Linda Press Wolf, and welcome to another episode of A Conversation With. This show is dedicated to artists, photographers, authors, and others in our community who've made a difference. Today, I'll be talking with Lisa Cohen, an award-winning equine photographer residing in South Salem with her husband and 2 children. Lisa's specialty is photographing wild Mustangs in Colorado and other locations. It's a pleasure to have you on the program, Lisa. Welcome.
Thank you.
Before we get into your photography, what drew you to Lewisboro?
Well, I think like many other young couples, we were living in the city and we needed more space. And we started looking in Lower Westchester and inched north slowly. We got off of exit 6, saw the reservoir, and we were immediately hooked. We just loved it here, all of the natural beauty, nature. It was very quiet and peaceful.
Before we get into your photography, I know that part of your background, you attended law school and possibly even practiced law. Tell us about that.
Yes, I did attend law school at Boston College. I would have loved to have, I think I mentioned, go and become a photographer for National Geographic and travel the world, but it wasn't very practical. At that time, law school was my path, and it brought me to a lot of amazing experiences that I've had.
And did you practice law at any point, or is that when you took the leap and left the law profession behind you and went to work for William Morris?
Well, I didn't go to a law firm. I did work for the William Morris agency. I started in their agent training program, which landed me in the mailroom, which is where everyone starts. It sounds funny, but it was a great experience and helps you to learn the workings of the business from the ground up and helps you to develop a little bit thicker skin than you might otherwise have. It's a tough business, the entertainment industry, but I did love that experience. From that point, I went to work at Conde Nast, which is the publisher of many of the magazines that we all know and love.
That must have been a great experience for you as well. And I think you had mentioned to me that you were a talent agent at Conde Nast.
Actually, at Conde Nast, I was an attorney in the Rights and Permissions Department, and my responsibilities were to negotiate the contracts with Conde Nast photographers and authors and stylists, and to vet the rights and permissions of the Conde Nast archive, which was a treasure trove of photography dating back to 1909 when Vogue was first published, and really kind of the highlight of my career there was going through the old images and seeing some of the iconic photographers from our day and the past, what they did. Their storytelling was incredible.
Now, you already had an interest in photography. You mentioned about maybe wanting to go off and be a photographer for National Geographic. So this must have fueled, this experience at Conde Nast must have fueled your interest even more. So now did you then immerse yourself in photography, or were there other factors that also influenced your attraction or interest in photography?
It was always there, and I was a photography minor. When I got my undergraduate degree in political science and photography. And when I got to Conde Nast and was given those responsibilities, I just felt like a kid in a candy store. Really, it just opened my eyes again to the things that I loved to do, and talking to and working with all of the photographers did so as well.
Now, at some point, you must have made the decision to kind of totally immerse yourself in photography. And you have a family, and you have many interests, I'm sure. So were there other pivotal moments that sort of pushed you or motivated you to immerse yourself fully in the field of photography?
The way it happened for me was kind of by chance. We moved up here, and I had 2 boys, and decided that I wanted to be here to raise them, and the long hours in the city were not conducive to that. So after my second child was born, I started taking riding lessons at Echo Farm. I would go there once a week, and under no circumstances would I miss my riding lesson unless my children needed me. And the riding lessons evolved into my taking pictures, which ultimately led me to take pictures of other people's horses. And I thought, maybe I can really do this. So I started to take classes, online classes. The world of photography had obviously changed from film to digital. So I began to take digital photography classes and take workshops that would take me places, and I got to travel, which was another reason why I wanted to do this.
Well, equine subjects are so beautiful to photograph, and I'm looking around and seeing absolutely gorgeous photography, and the subjects are beautiful. And how is it that your interest, let's say, shifted from the local area and equine subjects here to Colorado and the Mustangs?
The first workshop that I went on took me to Colorado, and it was called the Great American Horse Drive. We got to photograph about 800 horses being driven from their overwintering location to their summer location, and I couldn't believe the beauty of these horses. That while they were domesticated horses, during that trip we also spent some time out in the Sand Wash Basin and began photographing wild Mustangs. It wasn't until then that I started to realize what was happening in the country with the wild Mustangs.
Now, your interest in the subjects, the wild Mustangs, went beyond photography. You've had some sort of interaction or knowledge of what's happening with the Bureau of Land Management and that huge population of wild Mustangs that are in Colorado. So what's happening there?
Well, what's happening is that I think it was in 1971 Congress enacted laws to protect the wild Mustangs in this country, recognizing that they were a national treasure. Really, they sort of represented everything that the pioneering spirit of the West represented, and budgets were put in place to make sure that they could remain free on their land. And over time, because of human consumption and the need for land and the grazing of cattle, the horses' populations are slowly dwindling because they're being rounded up and taken off the range.
Oh, that's tragic. It really is, especially such beautiful, beautiful creatures. And so you make an annual excursion out to Colorado every year, right, to photograph, and also is it in part to monitor what's happening with the Mustang population there?
I do. I do go every year, sometimes twice a year, and I will often see the same horses. I look for them. There are other people like me who do this as well. There are people who dedicate their entire lives to doing this. At this point, with children and not living out west, I can't do that. But what they're doing with their photography, and it never even occurred to me when I got back into this, is that they're telling the story. And they're bringing awareness to these issues. And in the end, photography is really about storytelling for me.
Mm-hmm. Lisa, what are some of your favorite photographs?
Some of my favorite photographs are those that are not posed. I really like photographing these majestic animals in their natural environment without tack, no saddles, bridles. I like the photographs where the horses are just doing what they normally do, interacting with each other, because they really have fascinating relationships, and I like to try to capture the emotion of that.
And so what's on the horizon? Have you any other projects that you're working on or subjects that have captured your attention? What's down the road?
Well, first and foremost, I'm a mom, so when my kids don't need me and when I can get away, I'd really like to explore some of the other natural wonders and resources that may be in danger of disappearing. I think that it's important to capture these images so that we have them forever, and hopefully to try to bring some awareness to the important issues that might be threatening their continuing to be a source of beauty for us.
And if people would like to learn more about your photography, how to contact you, where do they go?
They can go to my website. It's silvermountainstudio.com, and they can also see my work at the gallery in Katona, Katona Art and Frame.
It's been a pleasure having Lisa on the show today. Thank you for sharing your artwork and your perspective.
Thank you.
So I'd like to thank Lisa for joining us this afternoon on A Conversation With, and thank our viewers for watching LCTV Channel 20. Until next time, this is Linda Press-Wolf for LCTV Channel 20, the 2010 winner of Overall Excellence in Government Access.
You're watching Lewisboro Community Television, Channel 20.